So I have been wanting to develop my own games, and as you know, my favorite genre is RPGs. So after hearing about and trying out both RPG Maker VXAs and now MZ, I could say I have made a few games myself. I'll put a link to where you can find and play them in the description, but today's video is not about me, it's about others. I am Professor Retro, and I will be reviewing other RPG Maker games, so let's get into this. Now, what I love about RPG Maker is if you have the artistic talent, you can create your own sprites and implement them into the game, so you don't have to use the default ones. So what this developer had done was to make his own graphics and put them in the game, and I love it. If nothing super fancy, but it still looks good. The background gave the feel of the setting of the game, which is in the polar climates. I do have to add that he had created this game specifically for an itch.io game jam with a theme of polar exhibition, and it sure gave the feel of that. The gameplay is pretty good as well. The first few moments in the game you start doing basically the same thing. Check solar panels, check provisions, gather samples. As you continue to do that, you start to realize that something is not quite right. You notice where the asteroid had landed, there is no crater. Then one of your fellow crew members gets hurt pretty bad, but doesn't even bleed after being cut. The three of you gather at the cafeteria and discuss what had happened so far. And when you go to gather samples again, the machine you use malfunctions, and instead of giving you a decent amount of samples, you get tiny pebbles, which pisses off Professor Janet. And she sends you out of the lab with your pebbles. You exit out of the lab and proceed to throw them, and that's when you notice they hit what seems to be a glass wall. You call the other two near you and show them what you mean, and soon the three of you decide you need to investigate. The plan is one of the other two create a hole on the fence, and you go off to make a bomb. Once you make the bomb, you blow a hole in the dome to see a lab outside of it, and suddenly you pass out and see the scientists talking about what happened. And that is when you realize that you were nothing more than AI the whole time, and the whole polar exhibition was nothing more than to watch you and fix bugs when they appear, like the lack of blood and no crater at the impact site. Mimicry of life reminds me somewhat of the Stephen King novel Under the Dome, where an entire city is suddenly kept under a dome and some people have to figure out why. I give Doma and his game Mimicry of Life a 10 out of 10. It's short but sweet and has a great ending. Next on the entry is Exercise Me, a visual novel created by Limeace. Now, if you know anything about him, you know most of his creations have somewhat of a dark tone to them, and this one has no exception. You play Clarence, a young man who for some reason has been accused of something scandalous in the eyes of the church, and your mother drags you to the church to get the demon removed. After lighting all the candles in the church, you stand in the center of a star and are soon taken to what looks like an operating room as you contemplate what is about to happen, and soon you lose your own self-identity. Years later, after you finishing school, you find yourself applying for a job at the police station, where you again run into your old friend Asher. However, years ago, when you had the operation to remove the demon, part of your memories have also been wiped out, and you have no clue who Asher is anymore. So the artwork in this game was absolutely amazing. You can tell this one was hand-drawn, which makes the mood of the game even more darker. Now, when I record gameplay, I usually have the sound down so I can focus on the gameplay and the graphics of the game. So I didn't get a chance to check out the music, since Limeace has both the artwork and music available for purchase if you would like. Or he has also said you can cheat if you download the game and just root around the files and find the files with them all in it. Now, I'm not much of a visual novel fan, but this one is short and amazing. I like it deals with a topic of what others expect you to be, even if it goes against what you know you are and who you are, which relates to me and reminds me years ago in my life, which I had to deal with the same issue. I give Exercise Me another 10 out of 10. This game has great artwork, and it has a really good gameplay for a visual novel. So there you have it, 2 amazing RPG Maker games you can find in itch.io, like I said at the start. Will have a link to each of these down in the comments. I give them a try, and if you like the game and its developer, give them a follow, they'll appreciate it. Until then, I'm Professor Retro reminding you to hit that like button, ring that bell, and mash the subscribe button so you get heads up when I release a new video. Till then, peace out and game on.